Happy 420. I'm Kai.
And I'm Queen Reefer, and you're watching
Stone Cold Murder. Just a PSA, if you have any information that can help solve a crime, go to crimestoppers.com to report any information anonymously.
This podcast contains material that might not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Thanks for tuning in for Season 3, Episode 3, The Girl in Skatoon.
Skatoon.
Scoot, scoot, toon.
Scoop and boogie. Sorry.
That's Todd's favorite song.
Really?
Boot,
Boot,
scoot,
scoot, and
boogie?
boogie?
Yeah, you'll sing and he'll be like, ooh.
Aw, I'm gonna do it like if you just like start singing it,
Yeah.
where it has to like play the music.
No, I think if you sing the chorus,
Aw.
he'll go with you. He does with anyways.
Alright, I'm coming over soon and I'm gonna sing Boot, Scoot, and Boogie to your
He
dog.
likes that one and Werewolves of London. Werewolves London. Ah, woo.
Aw.
I know. It's so cute.
You should video it.
I do have
And
a
you
video.
should put it. Oh,
I'll show you. My phone's over there.
yeah. I need to see this. You should put it on.
I'll send it to Matt so we can watch it here.
Yeah.
Todd singing Boot Scoot Boogie.
Go town, Boot Scoot Boogie.
Yeah, he's the best. I love him. He was laying on the couch earlier today, and he was like trying to worm his way under the couch cushions because he was cold.
Aww.
So I covered him up with the little blanket, and he just like curled up like a little donut. I know.
What a cutie. We don't deserve dogs.
I know. He's the best ever. Truly. Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome back to Stone Cold Murder. I don't think I needed to introduce, but I am going to introduce us anyways. I almost said Stone Cold Murder. It's Queen Reefer. And Matt DeBoof. I don't know if you have a cam or anything anymore, but he's in the booth behind, right here. He's there. You can't see him, but we appreciate him. So how are you doing this week?
You didn't introduce yourself.
Oh,
And
I'm Kai.
this is Kai.
It's me. We're back. We're here, ready to share another case with y'all. How have you been this week?
How have I been this week? Great.
Yeah?
I've been a little brown recluse this week.
You've been a brown recluse this week. Yeah? You've been locked up?
I've been locked up.
Biting people?
Yeah. No,
Deteriorating skin?
yeah, that too. No, it's just we have gotten a lot of snow this week, so
Yeah.
stayed in my house, bunkered down.
Stayed
Yeah.
warm?
Oh yeah.
Did you watch any good, like, snow movies?
No, I just played games. But I actually did go see the new Smile yesterday.
Oh, how was it?
It was good. It was better, but not better than the last one at the same time. I don't know how to explain it.
I haven't seen the first one,
Oh.
surprisingly. But
Yeah, it's more gory than the first one, but the smiles on the people aren't as scary.
Oh. But there's
So,
more gore.
Yeah.
Overall, was the movie scarier? Or...
It was just more mind fucking.
oh.
Yeah, you're
Mind
like
fuck.
a lot of stuff that you thought were like real, and then well, I'm not gonna get into it too much,
Yeah.
but just more of a mind twisting than the first one.
I kind of like that, though.
Like, yeah. Usually I can predict stuff, and then it would happen, but then at the end it changed, and then just crazy. Yeah.
Like the end of Twilight when it's that battle scene.
Yeah.
Like that type of
Yeah, you go through
switch.
all these emotions, and you're like, this is real life right now, and then it's like, it's not real life right now. What is
Yeah.
this? Yeah.
Do you remember seeing that in the theater?
And everyone's jaw was like wide open, and you could hear a pencil fall,
Oh,
and everyone's
yeah.
like, yeah.
Like, no way.
I vividly remember watching
Me
that in the
too.
theater. and
Me
we're-
too, just because of that part specifically.
Mhm.
It's good cinematic shit.
I'm pretty
right there.
sure we watched it together too.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we were like both like looked at each other like, what
We're
just
like-
happened? Carlisle.
Carlisle died.
Yeah. So
A
that
lot of
kind of
people died.
that kind of mind fuck, you know? Where
Yeah.
you're just like, wait, what?
I'm here for that because you and I both are people that like predict endings of movies pretty easily. So I always appreciate a movie that can
Me
like
too.
catch me off guard. I
Mhm.
really enjoy that.
Speaking of, I think we talked about this a couple
Oh.
weeks ago, but the Anything Everywhere All at Once movie,
Oh yeah, I need to watch
you need
that.
to watch it.
Send
That is
to me
mind-fucking.
So I can remember to
'Kay.
watch it. I get stoned and forget
I'm gonna
recommendations.
send it right now because I'm also gonna forget. But
Hmm.
that is also another really good one.
Okay, I've had a couple people tell me that actually. So
It's really weird, but you'll appreciate it. Like, I remember watching it and I was like, "What am I watching?" And then by the end of the movie, you're like, "I really want to watch it again right now because it's
Oh.
like that good.
okay.
It's crazy."
Did you finish Terrifier?
No, I need to.
Dang. It's
I
free
know.
on Tubi, man.
I know, I need to. I keep wanting to. I just,
Yeah, you guys were into it
yeah.
that night. I was glad Matt stayed and finished it with me.
Oh yeah, bro.
The homie right there.
Hell yeah, bro. But yeah.
So Smile, did you guys eat any soup or have any hot chocolate with the snow?
No. Well, apple cider.
Apple cider?
Yeah.
Yummy. I had some of that too.
Yeah.
Always
Good.
delish.
I also do have hot chocolate, but
Nice.
yeah,
But you weren't feeling it.
didn't feel it. Lots of chocolate chip cookies though.
Ayy.
Warm chocolate chip cookies, the best.
Hell yeah. Puppy snuggles.
Mhm.
It's the best kind of way
Also
to...
cinnamon rolls.
Those ones that you got that one time?
No,
Oh,
the
those
canned
were
ones. Those were good.
Those were way too good.
I know. I don't know what the hell they put in that, but so good.
My favorite thing about a cinnamon roll is when they're squishy like that too. I don't want them crunchy.
I don't like crunchy rolls.
We don't want a crunchy roll
Well,
around here.
Crunchy roll anime, but not
Yeah.
a crunchy roll cinnamon roll.
Or crunchy roll sushi. I'll take that. Cinnamon rolls. They need to be soft,
And warm and light and fluffy.
squishy, decadent, sticky,
Very demure. Very mindful.
warm. Moist.
Anyway.
I'm done.
Moist.
Yeah, cinnamon rolls. I worked through the snowstorm.
Yeah.
Per the usual. I actually worked a lot of hours this week. I'm not gonna lie, I am toasted. I slept all day yesterday. The entirety of yesterday I slept.
How are you feeling today?
Better.
Yeah.
Much better. But I've had 2 Red Bulls today, so.
Damn, girl.
And an espresso.
Damn, your heart's like.
No, it's not because I don't take Adderall anymore because my company got rid of my insurance. So I have to supplement it with all this caffeine.
I'm pretty sure, like, every episode so far we've talked about Adderall.
Because it's inhibiting my brain, guys.
Well, you know, just drink 2 Red Bulls and a cappuccino and you're good. Apparently.
It's close-ish. Not really. Even scrapes it, unfortunately.
I think we talked about this. Did you try the Focus drink yet?
Yeah, that shit was good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Does that help your mind a little bit? Like, I know it's not comparable to
Yeah.
the medicine, but
It works for me at work, which is really nice. Because I seem to be, like, quite scatterbrained at work most of the time. But I just take a dry scoop of that and swish it with some
Jesus!
water.
Just a fucking dry scoop. I used to do that for like pre-workout when I was like going to the gym a lot, but
Your reaction is every one of my employees' reaction. They're like,
cause that shit's thick. Like even just opening it and the whiff of the powder like actually makes me choke.
I just put a little water in my mouth and then I take a scoop and go, and then put more water in my mouth and then shake my
Yeah.
head like this.
Tugboat that
swallow.
shit.
Tugboat. You meant motorboat.
Motorboat. I totally meant motorboat. Yeah. Tugboat. Anyways, we're here for a podcast.
Anyways, no tugboat in here.
But motorboating.
Man, every episode I'm crying before the episode even takes place.
You know why?
Why?
You don't have insurance. Can't get your medicine.
Yeah, I can't focus. Help. Little
Help.
tiny violin. All right. Well, I'm gonna also take a dab before we get started. I don't know why that sounded so aggressive. Oh, all right.
And this smoke break is brought to you by tugboating.
All right. So our story starts out on the evening of May 31st, 1962. Around 9 o'clock, two young boys were playing near the river and they made a gruesome discovery, which is never good when you're just playing outside, trying to be an innocent little child, playing by the creek. What?
The crick.
The creek. It's not a creek either. What? It was a river.
Same shit, different air
But
freshener.
as a kid, yeah, I feel like everything is like a little fun adventure. And unfortunately, these kids found a horrible sight. The two brothers ran to their father immediately, who was down the river fishing a little bit, or a little bit down the river fishing, I should say. And they told him what they found. After describing the scene to him, he called the police, and according to the local newspaper, the boys discovered a hand that was partially sticking out of what they described as a shallow grave. So,
Ugh.
ew. Yeah, could you imagine?
No.
No, I know. Like,
That's all they saw was like a hand sticking up?
yeah, just like
Ooh.
almost kind of like zombie style.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
The body was nude from the waist down, and her clothing was ripped. The police chief at the time, named Jim Kettles, was on the scene that day, and he called the crime one of the most heinous and sadistic offenses that Scatoon had seen for a long time.
Dang. So it had to be like really bad.
Yeah,
Because I'm
rough.
sure they see like a lot of fucked up shit.
Yeah, this is in Canada too. For them specify. Sorry, got a little itch. Anyways, unfortunately, those on the scene had a pretty good idea who the body was. A woman who had been missing for about 2 weeks. They had her roommate confirm that the clothing was hers, and when she identified the clothing as her roommate's, the police were able to confirm their suspicion. The body that was found in the shallow grave was 23-year-old Alexandra Wiwcharuk. Alex's roommate Pauline called and reported her missing on May 19th, 1962 at around 10:15 a.m. when she never showed up for her shift the previous night. So on May 19th, the police had a missing person report placed over the radio on the stations CKOM and CFCQ, and they also provided the report to a local RCMP. So it was almost immediate that they started looking for her, which I don't think is always the case with missing persons report. A lot of times they'll make you wait 24 hours or even up to a week to like report someone missing if they have been a runaway or something like that, you know?
Yeah, usually it's like 24, 72 hours.
Yeah, which is crazy. But also lucky for them that they had a police department that was willing to start the look.
Yeah.
You know? Detective Sergeant Baker said, as a result of the radio broadcasts, several individuals called or came in to the police station to report possibly seeing her or someone matching Alexandra's description around the Scatoon area. There was a huge search done looking for any trace of Alex or what may have happened to her, coming up with actually absolutely nothing, which sucks. And probably why it took 2 weeks to actually find her body. Detective Sergeant Baker told Dateline that the area where Scatoon Police Service K9 had actually taken interest in during those first searches, was actually very close to where Alex's body was found on May 31st. So I think if they would have done a little bit more looking around that area, they might have found her early on in the case. But I'm not sure why they didn't investigate further. Maybe they thought the dog wasn't hitting properly or something, but
Right.
they did say that the canine hit or did take interest to that area. So I found that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, you would think like if it did take, like the dog did take interest to it, like obviously it's finding something, right?
Yeah. And maybe it was just that the shallow grave was good enough to where she couldn't be seen, and maybe it took some weather related instance to like make her hand be seen, you
Yeah.
know, eventually. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, could be
it
it.
was an interesting thought that I was surprised. You know?
Yeah.
Alexandra's cause of death was believed to be due to a skull fracture that caused a brain hemorrhage. Which, oof.
Sounds awful.
Alex sustained multiple injuries, including a laceration of the scalp, face, and vulva, and various abrasions of the skin. So bruises of the skin. Bruises, scrapes. These were all very clear signs that Alex had suffered a vicious sexual assault on top of being brutally murdered.
Poor thing.
I know. And that's where we'll take our first smoke break. And we're back. Stoned. Alright. So, I kind of left off saying that Alex had sustained multiple injuries, including lacerations of the scalp, face, vulva, and various abrasions of the skin. And these were all very clear signs that Alex had suffered a vicious sexual assault and attack.
Yeah.
A little bit about Alexandra. I'm sorry, not Alexandria, Alexandra. Alexandra was a bright, young, vivacious, and bubbly girl by all accounts. Alexandra Wiwcharuk was born in 1939 in the town of Endeavour, Scatawachan, and this is just east of Scatoon.
Skatoon.
Alexandra was the youngest of 10 children.
Damn.
Yeah, 10. That's a fuck ton of children.
It's a whole army.
Whole army. Whole damn army in Scatoon. She had 6 brothers and 3 sisters in a traditional Ukrainian family who grew up on a farm in Endeavour. One of her sisters said she always had a smile and made everybody happy, especially her parents. So, which I'm sure most of the time, as the youngest, as you could relate to, parents fucking love the young. Not that they don't love the other children, because of course they do. But the youngest has a special place in your heart because it's the youngest, you know.
But I also feel like a lot of pressure too.
Oh, I'm sure.
It has its pros and cons.
Yeah. I was able to just not feel the pressure. Well, a different kind of pressure, but
Yeah.
not that kind of pressure. But yeah, as the youngest, her parents really adored her. Her sister said that they were best friends when they were growing up and did everything together. Alex was just under 5'2", so she was a short queen.
Slay.
Yeah, slay. Described as having a rich reddish dark hair and light colored eyes.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, and let me tell you guys, this is where we're going to insert a picture here, but Alexandra was absolutely goddamn beautiful. Like I'm not exaggerating. When I saw a photo of her, I was like gorgeous.
Yeah, she sounds gorgeous.
She was gorgeous. I mean stunning. My mouth dropped. Like if people are familiar with traditional style tattoos, she looks like the traditional style nurse. Side profile with like the roses. She has this photo that I'm going to give Matt to insert here. And good God, like she looks like the image taken to make these tattoos. Like
Yeah.
looks like someone saw her picture and was like, that is the most stunning, beautiful woman I've ever seen. I'm going to draw her as a tattoo and memorialize her on someone's skin forever.
Wow.
Like,
But do you have the picture now?
yeah,
I kind of want to see it.
I will show you.
Sorry, I'm like, I cannot not see a picture of her now
Right.
that we talked about it. Oh, yeah.
Gorgeous, right?
For some reason, I thought she had I thought you said red.
I just think this picture doesn't show it very well. But yeah, like reddish hair. I think it's a black and white photo that they enhance, you know? She attended high school at Skatoon Technical Colette, where she was a member of the drama club. Which sounds fun.
Am I the drama?
Am I the drama?
Me, the drama.
Us? The drama? No. She was in drama, though. The drama club. And her dream was to become a stewardess, which sounds fun.
Yeah.
But at only 5'2", she was too short at the time to become a stewardess, and they were not allowing short people to be stewardess. So instead, in 1959, she returned to Yorkton, and with support and a little financial help from her family, Alex took up nursing instead. And she did this at Yorkton Union Hospital School of Nursing. So that's like a big career switch up, I feel like, from wanting to be stewardess and traveling and, you know, enjoying that whole lifestyle to being a nurse. That's a very big switch up, but she seemed to enjoy it. And at the time of Alex's murder, she had graduated from college, from the college nursing program in 1961, and was the only one of her family that had continued her education beyond high school.
Oh, good for her.
I know. An educated queen.
Yes, slay.
Yeah. With her nursing degree in hand, she began to work at City Hospital in Skatoon in September of 1961. And she shared a basement apartment in the city with 3 other nurses: Alice Hall, Doreen Baduke, and Pauline Tillis. And they all worked at the same hospital, so it made it nice that they could all share this basement apartment. You know, they all had the same job, probably similar schedules, so that's kind of a nice roommate situation, I feel like.
Yeah.
I've had roommate situations where it's just like we're all on different schedules, and it makes a very weird shared space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Alex had a lot of things going for her at the time. She was young, beautiful, freshly graduated from nursing. Life was looking promising, and with luck on her side, Alex entered a contest sponsored by a local radio station to promote, of all people, country singer Johnny Cash.
Wow.
I know, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
In 1961, Johnny Cash was sent to perform in Canada, and this was going to be in the city of Skatoon, in Saskatchewan, specifically. So Johnny was going to perform his recent single, which was titled "Girl in Skatoon," which is kind of cool. Obviously, why this contest was going here in the specific city of Skatoon. And a local radio station sponsored a contest to choose a young woman for Johnny Cash to pull out of the audience and sing to on stage. So that's kind of cool, especially if you're into Johnny Cash. I mean, Johnny Cash was cool.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
give
Johnny
him that.
Cash.
It's fucking Johnny Cash.
It's Johnny fucking Cash.
Johnny fucking Cash, man. And he would have loved for you to say it that way, too.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine. The winner of the contest just so happened to be
Alex.
Yeah, it was Alex. Yeah, of course, because she's gorgeous. And Dateline spoke to her sister Pearl, one of her older sisters, actually, who was actually 91 at the time that they spoke to her. So, crazy.
Wait, who was 91?
Her sister Pearl, when Dateline spoke to her about this. They had an interview with her.
Oh, I thought you meant at the time of the concert. I was like, the math ain't math in here. I was so confused. It's like her older sister that's 91.
Yeah, so
okay, I catch it.
I've phrased it a little weird, but it was gonna. Once I said the whole paragraph, you would have understood. So
I just heard 91 and I said my brain checked out. I was like
91.
mentally in my head, like trying to piece the pieces together, and I was like
that meme.
Yeah, this ain't adding up.
Yeah. So Dateline spoke with Pearl, one of Alex's older sisters, who was 91 at the time of the interview. but still remembered the excitement of that night.
Oh.
She said, quote, "That was so great that Johnny Cash was there and made that song, Girl in Skatoon. I was there too, and that was a great night." End quote. Which is cute
Aw.
as fuck.
Stop. What a
I know.
cutie bean.
I know. He sang the song Girl in Skatoon to Alex in the Skatoon Arena in front of 1,500 fans. So that is a big crowd.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, just a year later, the girl in Skatoon, Alexandra, would be dead, which is very unfortunate. And, like, it's crazy that you can go from, someone like her could go from just having all of these great things in front of you to having it just completely ripped out of you, or from you, I should say, in a matter of seconds. Nobody even saw it coming, you know? I mean, you never do with these kind of cases, or any murder cases usually, but, like, I don't know. And
Yeah.
you just think back to all the times that, like, you're really having a good streak and just feeling really good, and just, like, could you imagine just having someone murdered after all of this?
Yeah.
You know?
No, and it's always like people who are living life, dude. That are
I
at the
know.
top of their game, just, you know, content, happy.
Yeah.
Sad.
Being a nurse, helping people, you know?
Mhm.
Alexandra, or Alex, according to her family, had actually won multiple beauty contests by the time she turned 21, which fitting because she was fucking gorgeous. She was voted Queen of Kinnett's Skating Carnival in Yorkton in 1960. And that same year, she won Yorkton's entrant in the Providence-wide Scatawatchin Wheat Queen contest.
Wow, what a mouthful.
I know.
Hold on, say that again.
That same year, she was Yorkton's entrant in the Providence-wide Scatawatchin Wheat Queen contest.
Wheat queen.
Wheat Queen.
Wow.
I want to be a wheat queen. It sounds like folly,
Wheat.
you know?
I like wheat.
Wheat's cool.
Wheat's cool. Yeah.
Alexandra was beautiful inside and out, and when the discovery of her murder was shared around the community, they were all obviously very shaken up by the news. According to Alex's family, when Johnny Cash heard about the news, he was on stage. He actually stopped the show and told the audience that they were going to have to take 2 minutes of silence in order to honor the girl in Skatoon.
Aww.
I know. And it's said that Johnny Cash never performed that song in concert again.
Wow. So he
Yeah.
like really took that to heart.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, because I mean, it was that same year. So,
Yeah.
like, you know, it's almost one of those, like, weird fate things, you know? You're like,
Yeah.
fuck, like, I just saw, like, out of all of the people that could have won this contest in Skatoon, it had to be that girl and connected to Johnny Cash, you know? I'm
Right.
sure he was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I would be. Alexandra was outgoing and adored by friends and family. Her sister said she was a happy girl all the time. She was such a great girl that just made everybody happy wherever she went, excuse me. She made everybody happy, everybody smile, and everybody laugh. End quote. That's where we're gonna. That's when we're gonna. That's when we're gonna. All right, now we're gonna take a.
I'm supposed to breathe with no air.
Okay, everyone, we're gonna take our second smoke break now. Smoke break 2. And we're back from our smoke break. So, where I left off was basically just her sister talking about how much everybody loved Alex and what a good person she was. So immediately after finding her body, the police got pretty much straight to work investigating her murder. Since this was a missing person case, they kind of already had a little bit of a lead going on. So at around 8 o'clock p.m. on May 18th, 1962, Alex went for a walk before her night shift at the hospital. Alexandra was set to work the night shift from around 11:30 p.m. on Friday, May 18th, 1962 at City Hospital in Scatoon. So I feel like that's a normal regular shift, so she went on a walk before a shift, and obviously she never showed up for that evening shift. And it was very unlike Alexandra to miss work. So the hospital ended up calling her roommates, and they told the hospital that they didn't know where Alex was either. And Alexander said that the roommates told the family that Alex had said she was going to mail some letters before heading to the hospital for her shift. So when she didn't make it back to the apartment that evening, they just assumed she went to work. But the next morning, when she did not come back from her shift, they knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, why isn't she home? So they did a little investigating themselves, and when they couldn't find anything, they went to the police. Detective Sergeant Diane Baker of the Historical Case Unit of the Scatoon Police Service told Dateline that one of Alex's roommates, who was Pauline, called and reported her missing on May 19th, 1962 at 10:15 a.m. So they wasted no time, which is
Good roommates.
a good roommate. Fuck yeah. So on May 19th, 1962, police had the missing persons report placed over the radio stations and also provided the report to a local RCMP. And Detective Sergeant Baker said as a result of the radio broadcasts, several individuals called and came forward into the police station to report possibly seeing her or maybe seeing someone matching Alex's description in or around Scatoon. Baker told Dateline that the police took those statements and began interviewing those who had possibly last seen her. Police also had a boat unit out on the river, and this boat unit was just checking the river banks and all around the area as where she was last seen, basically. So she was seen down on that river walkway where her body was eventually found, and that was the river that they were patrolling, but didn't find her, unfortunately. Detective Sergeant Baker said, adding to the Boat River unit, on May 23rd, 1962, one of their canine dogs showed interest in two culverts on the bank of the South Saskatchewan River. Police learned that Alex had been spotted at several locations that night on her walk, actually. One of these locations was being at a drugstore near her home at about 8:30 p.m. or like 8:45-ish. And there was also an unconfirmed sighting afterwards of her walking by that same riverbank where she was found.
Oh.
So, interesting.
Yeah.
That was probably the last place she was seen, honestly. The search for Alexandra lasted about 12 days, and they had everybody looking for her, even at airports and everything. Like, so they were really like doing the work,
Right.
which you don't typically see, which I will applaud them for. Like, that's a good group of people searching, I
Yeah.
guess, you know. You don't usually see it going that big, unless it's like kids, you know.
Right.
Usually kids get that kind of attention, I feel like, but not usually adults. So Alex's sister Anne recalled that she thought it took about 2 weeks before they could find her. And then she said, but we finally found her. Alex had been buried in the riverbank where those earlier unconfirmed sightings had been reported. And she was about 6 blocks from her apartment. So not far at all.
Yeah, not far.
Her body was eventually recovered on May 31st, just a few feet away from the South Saskatchewan riverbed. Alex's killer beat her in the head with enough force to fracture her skull, and she was brutally raped. Her hand was found partially sticking out of the sand or dirt, and it was actually discovered that there was dirt inside her lungs.
Oh, man.
Which means...
So she was probably still, like, breathing when she got buried?
Yeah, buried alive.
Oh, man.
Which... I know it's like a huge fear for a lot of people, but like I couldn't imagine just being like so brutally attacked and then buried alive. Like that is depraved. It's horrible. Throughout the course of the investigation, there have been over 600 statements taken. However, there have been no arrests on the case whatsoever, and Alex's case has gone pretty cold. So, over the next part of what I'm going to say, I'm going to go over just like a little timeline of the investigation. So, we have the basic information, and then there's just like a little bit of scattered information after this. So, not a whole lot, but it is enough to where I want to mention it.
Yeah,
You know what I
talk
mean?
about it.
Yeah. So just a little scattered timeline after her case goes cold. In 1998, a man named Ed, I hope I say this right, Wiwcharuk, registered a complaint with Attorney General about the handling of several unsolved cases.
Oh.
This happened to include Alexandra's murder. And this resulted in a creation of a police squad to help look over some of those cases that were in question, which included Alex's.
Did it say who this guy was, or it was just some random guy?
He was just a random guy, I think, investigating a different case. And he realized that they weren't handled with the care that he would expect some of these cases to be handled with, and
Okay.
it rubbed him the wrong way.
Yeah.
So he filed that complaint, and it was taken to the Attorney General, and they did something about it. They made this police cold squad is what it's called, and they went over a couple different cases, including Alex's. Unfortunately, nothing really came of looking over this, but it was kind of cool that they were at least able to bring some attention to some of these cold cases, because as we all know, like, even if you can't solve them right away, bringing those attention to cold cases sometimes gets them solved. You know, it does sometimes take a while, but you never know what you can discover by just keeping a case relevant.
Especially with like new eyes on it as well, because this is what, like 30 years after the fact.
Yeah.
So even just like a whole new pair of eyes, like maybe
Yeah.
they missed something.
Yeah, exactly. Or, you know, sometimes people who commit these kind of crimes don't always keep them to themselves, you know.
Yeah.
Someone knows something, and, you know, eventually their conscience catches up to them, you know. Doesn't always happen, but
Sometimes.
you know, we get lucky every once in a while. So, Sharon Brutella was a woman who was being inducted into the Order of Canada on November 30th, 2002. And she knew about Alex's case, and she happened to have a conversation with the Governor General, who got her in contact with someone named Lyden McIntyre. And while Sharon was working on this case, they were able to just put a little bit more effort into it with Sharon's help and this cold case investigation team that they put together. So the challenge was for the police and for Sharon and for this cold case team, because most of the witnesses had died in this case. It was quite a while ago, and by 2002, there's not a lot of people still living that happened to be around this case. You know what I mean? So that was really where most of the challenges lied for them in trying to revitalize this case in any way. So many memories had faded for those who were still alive too because of their age, that nothing was really very reliable either. But now we have technology, and with the help of technology, some of the evidence, the crime scene evidence, DNA, was able to be tested, but none of it was successfully tested, so nothing actually came of being able to test the DNA, but it was still tested. So with that not being successful, they wanted to try one more avenue in maybe trying to find a match in DNA. So they asked Alex's family, their remaining living family, if they could exhume Alex's body in hopes to find any like hair DNA from the murderer, I guess, from the attacker, to test basically. Yeah. So with those hopes, the family gave permission to the Scatoon police to exhume Alex's body. And they actually found a hair that was missed during the original autopsy. Oh. And it was sent to a lab in Regina to be tested. Unfortunately, in 2007, a high-tech lab called Thunder Bay was able to test this DNA profile, and they were able to determine that it was not Alex's hair, but were not able to determine who the hair came from, obviously. So Scatoon police started collecting profiles from different suspects that were originally obviously suspected in the case. Yeah. And from family members and dead suspects. And family members of dead suspects as well. Okay. 2 suspects were cleared, named Billy McGriffin. He was a redhead boy that someone had mentioned that lived down the street that they just thought, randomly, I guess. Was like, yeah, they thought he could be the one. I don't even know if the hair was red that was found on the body, right. But he was cleared. His DNA was actually collected from his daughter and able to clear him, and his brother, because Billy had passed away in 1998. So with his familial DNA, they were both cleared, which is nice. And this boy named Leslie Carlson was a teenager in 1962, and he was apparently known to police. He had already served jail time for sex offenses, including 5 convictions. So this was 5 convictions for indecent exposure starting in 1960.
Around the same timeline?
Yeah. He has 19 convictions for indecent acts and 2 indecent assaults.
Oh, wow.
Which, what the fuck is an indecent assault, I wonder? I didn't look it up, but...
Slapping your meat on somebody?
Ew.
Sorry.
That's probably right. It's probably just, like, not an actual, like, essay, but leading up to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Ew. He also had one in 1974 for having sex with a 15-year-old.
Ooh.
And the victim ended up dying from a blow to the head, and she was buried in a snowbank. So he was serving time in a federal penitentiary in British Columbia, but his DNA was also excluded from the match. But that was oddly similar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially with the blow to the head.
Uh-huh. And in a riverbank.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's crazy. Is there ever, like, false negatives?
I'm sure, because I don't know if... I've watched a documentary on DNA testing, and I've also listened to this podcast, which is a really good podcast called Science Versus. And it's a scientist versus, like, different random things. But this one was science versus DNA testing. And they kind of went through how DNA testing is performed, and it's interesting how a lot of it is an educated guess. Like, it's a graph that you're kind of, like, matching to things. And you can get really close, but, like, at the end of the day, it's a really, really good educated guess on a lot of things.
Yeah, so it's potential that...
Yeah.
Because that, like, sounds like way too, like, close for it not to be a coincidence or something.
I thought so, too.
That's
like, crazy close. 15-year-old victim, too. Like, what a gross motherfucker. So, no DNA match for him. And then we skip to 2008. Police processed the profile against 13 different persons of interest. Several people have been excluded through DNA comparisons, and some of them are unknown. But most of them have been cleared. Which sucks, because that means they really don't have anything, you know?
Yeah, literally nothing.
Yeah. In April of 2008, Sharon, who was the lady that we talked about earlier, who was in touch with the Governor General, and way back a couple years ago. Not a couple, but
Yeah.
Whenever. Back in the story. And had teamed up with the cold case victim unit and the police to try and resurface this, basically. And was basically responsible for getting the DNA tested also. She ended up writing and releasing a book in 2008 called The Girl in Skatoon, a meditation on friendship, memory, and murder.
It's a sad book title.
I know. Fuck. And then in May of 2008, Alex's 4 nieces, Patty Story, 49, Lauren Phillips, 57, Lynn Gertrix, and Gwen Tarlson, which I didn't have their ages, read Sharon's book. So these are Alex's nieces. And they decided to actively investigate their aunt's murder after that, which is cool. So just that alone was like enough fuel to their fire to like be like, oh yeah, we should reinvestigate this. So that's like what I mean by just a little bit of resurfacing, talking about these cases can bubble up some of these things for people.
I was like thinking a little bit ago, like I like cold cases in the sense of like it gives like opportunity to talk about it, and then maybe like opportunity for people like listening to be like, oh, maybe there's a tidbit that they can give to like solve it. But I also hate it in the fact that I hate not knowing like the outcome to it, and I'm like, ugh.
I know.
I wish we knew the outcome.
Hopefully one day we will with some of them.
Yeah. Well, it brings me back to season 1 of the Boy in the Box.
Yeah.
Like how literally the week of filming that episode, they came out with like the identification of the Boy in the Box.
It's huge. And I'm sure we'll hear like more about like what happened to him.
Yeah.
Now that they know who he was, Which is huge. It's awesome. So, we were talking about Alex's nieces. They were only children at the time of their aunt's murder, but they vowed when they grew up that they were going to solve it, which is adorable as fuck. And according to Patty, the book gave them the needed kick in the pants. Over the next couple of months, they interviewed over 100 people and came up with 4 theories and suspects in the murder of their Aunt Alex's case. The nieces unveiled a billboard in downtown Skatoon at the corner of 25th Street and 2nd Avenue, asking for tips in their aunt's murder. It has a toll-free number, 1-866-794-1962, just in case anybody has any information. In the first week of the nieces' billboard being put up, they received over 40 calls, actually. So that's pretty huge. The 4 nieces actually don't live in the Skatoon area anymore. They live in British Columbia, New York, and Alberta. But they return to Skatoon every couple of months to follow up on any leads, which is awesome. To have family like that, man, like that, top tier right there. It has been nearly 62 years since the murder. Only 3 of Alex's siblings are still alive: Pearl, Anne, and their brother Daniel. Some of Alex's nieces have teamed up to try and solve the case that has caused their family so much pain for so long, and to give their aunt's remaining siblings answers. They were all children when their Aunt Alex was murdered. Patty and Lynn were both told Dateline that they have memories of crying every time Alex left their house. They remember not ever wanting to let her go, and they all had very special different relationships with her. Baker said that she was totally outgoing, and she always laughed, and she was always playing jokes. She was just an incredible person. There was nothing that she couldn't do or say that wouldn't make things better. I know. She was beautiful, and it was really exciting because she was the only one of the family who really continued her education, Bonnie said. The nieces remembered how devastating Alex's murder was for the entire family. Mother just couldn't believe it. Just couldn't believe that something would ever happen to her. It was very scary. Mother was just so devastated. It was so very terrible and such a sad time for us all. Mother wouldn't come out of her bedroom and she wouldn't eat. My dad just kept going in there and, trying to console her. But my mom was so depressed and so upset. She loved her baby sister, and she couldn't understand who would do such a thing.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I hear Stellar.
We got a baby bean. Stella.
Come here, baby bean.
Baby. Hi.
Baby bean. That's Stellarella. Hi, baby
Why are you
bean.
shaking?
You're okay. Yeah. My dad just kept going in there on her, trying to console her. My mom was just so depressed and so upset, she said. She loved her baby sister, and she just couldn't understand who would do such a thing. It was just so traumatizing in our household. I know. Myself and my family, we were just so disturbed, Pearl said. I lost 16 pounds in 2 weeks. I couldn't eat or sleep or nothing for 2 weeks. Alex's case going cold didn't diminish the family's desire to get answers and justice, though. Lynn said, we were doing a lot of this for my mom, my grandmother, and my grandfather, but also for us. She says that you just don't understand what a family goes through until it happens to you. So, and I completely agree. I don't think I could ever put myself in a mindset of any of the family or victims' shoes. Like, I can't put myself there. And I feel like if you do, you start to put yourself in a really weird thinking process, you know? Yeah.
And why would you want to?
Yeah. In recent years, Lynn has been in charge of a lot of the family investigation, and she said she keeps in very close contact with the police, pushing them to find answers. There's a lot of people that know me, even if it's just by phone call and email across Canada, she said. They even say, how did you find me? But it took a few courses, and then I just took a private investigator course, and I passed, she said. I could find anybody I wanted. I'm very good at it, but my research is the main thing. Lynn said that she looked through the Skatoon phone books starting in the year 1959 to find anyone who lived near Alex's apartment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dedication, man.
Dedication. She also went through all of the old newspapers to find anyone who was charged with rape, murder, or assault in the area at the time. Which, that's a huge task, I feel like. She said, I sat down with 60 names after all that research. It took me over a year. I did the profiles of every one of them to see if they're still alive. So when the historical caseworker asked me for this information, it was no problem. I had it all there. Sergeant Detective Baker confirmed that the family has provided investigators with all of the information they have discovered, and that there is an open dialogue between the investigators and the family, she said. It was like a lot of work, but it was something I could try and give just a little help to Alex's case, Lynn said. It was something that was needed. Which, I don't know, if she didn't put the legwork in, I don't know who would, you know? The amount of work that my cousins has done is beyond belief, Alex's niece, Bonnie Parker, said of Lynn. They are devoted to solving it and bringing their family closure, but know that they will eventually have to hand their work over to the next generation.
That's sad.
I know, it's like a really, really sad thing to realize, you know what I mean? Like, I guess you would assume that you would think that you would solve it, but of course I guess they don't feel that way, which sucks, you know?
Especially, like, nothing to go off of, again, you know?
Yeah.
No kind of... I mean, they had, like, 600 statements or something like that originally, but...
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Not enough, you know? To that end, the nieces have been working on passing the torch to Chantel, who is Alexandria's great niece, and the great-granddaughter of Alex's older sister. It's always been a story and something that I've had to live through, and through my grandma and watch her in her dying days. Still not have any answers, still not have the answers that she really wanted, or to see justice for Alex, Chantel said. So that was her great-granddaughter. Patty and Chantel have been working hard behind the scenes for the last few years doing research. I think she's going to go full-time with the investigation now, too, she said. Because we need younger gals to help out. Patty's daughter, Samantha, and Jessica have created a Facebook page and a website called Justice for Alex in hopes of spreading awareness and gaining public interest back in Alex's case. The Scatoon Police Service also posts to their social media accounts on the anniversary of Alexandra's death in hopes of renewing the public interest in the case.
That's
as
cool.
well. Yeah, I think
like
so
that
too.
They do that, you know.
Yeah. We appreciate everything anybody can do for us. And I would like to say to our mom, we are trying our best, Lynn said. I want to try my best to solve this case for her and my grandmother and my grandfather, her friends, and everybody. And it would be the best gift that I could give my mom and to all of them.
Aww.
I know.
That's so sad.
Yeah. Detective Sergeant Baker urges anyone with information about the murder of Alexandra Wiwcharuk to please contact Scatoon Police Service at 306-975-8300. So, what are your thoughts on this case?
I don't know if I really have any. That was a lot of information.
I know. The timeline I know was long and drawn out, but I just felt like, I didn't want to diminish all of the work that they had put into it, too, because it is a lot of work. It's just not a lot of information was discovered out of the work, which sucks, but a lot of dedication, a lot of wanting to see justice, which I really, really, really admire from all of these people.
Yeah,
in here,
it just goes to show how great of like a family they are too. Of like, even after years of it being cold, just still wanting to like dedicate your life to give your mom and great grandma or whatever the justice.
Yeah, it's incredible. Just a really sad story overall too. Like we said, just a whole life ahead of her. She seemed like she was really off to big, great things, and unfortunately will never have the opportunity to do any of those things, It's tragic.
Very.
If you guys have any thoughts on the case, you can comment down below and let us know what you think. Any thoughts, theories, anything like that, or anything you want to say to us. Stella looks really sad over here. She's tired.
You're yawning a lot.
With that, we are going to close out the case. Thank you all for tuning in for our third episode, getting stoned with us and listening to another case. Until next time, stay high,
stay safe,
and thank you for listening.
Hey guys, let us know what you think down below in the comments, but as always, be respectful and kind, as these are serious cases that have yet to be solved. If you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can know when we drop our next episode.